It is 6:30. And are there any additions or deletions this evening? No additions or deletions. First thing on the agenda is Selectboard Minutes from December 16th, 2024.
Move to approve.
Okay.
Seconded.
Okay. Please look over and see if you notice anything. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I wasn't here.
Oh, abstain. And one abstain.
Okay.
Okay. Pay orders.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, wait, first, are there any adjustments to this figure? No adjustments, and the figure is in the amount of $44,793.23.
I'll make the motion for that amount.
Do we have a second? We have a second. Please look over, bring up anything you want to discuss.
What's G Green Earth Energy?
Geeth Green Earth Energy. Net metering permits and J. Crawford time for 400.
I don't know what that is.
That's the two CPGs.
That's the two CPGs.
For the solar. One for the,
And Energy is paying for them too, on their own budget.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Call him, Mark.
You ready?
Yep. It's next.
Hi, Kyle, Mark Tessie here, Select Board, Town of Wallingford. You're on a speakerphone with us.
John,
Good.
you can hear me all right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess we'll just get in the salt shed situation.
Yeah, so, let's see, does anyone have any questions?
So just,
Right.
so, the ideas were, you know, we've got a couple locations. Unfortunately, every place that we got to put solar panels in the town of Wallingford are in the floodplain. So we had some options that we were looking at, trying to figure out the best way to, or the best place to put them, being in the floodplain. Couple of buildings that we had talked about were the highway garage, and the salt shed, and then also possibly on their own independent, frames down in what we called there the rec field area.
Yep.
So we were looking at just, we wanted to know what would be involved in, I guess, getting, you know, either repair, we have to put in a new salt shed, or salt/sand shed anyways, the one we have is
Yep.
falling down. So one of the questions was, if we replace that, what do we have to do to replace that? And when we replace it, we could possibly look at getting solar panels on the roof of that.
Okay. So I think we'll tackle the bigger issue first, which is going to be the salt shed.
Yeah.
So I think basically with the salt shed, we have two options, right? It's either going to be built on the parcel at 170 River Street or consider alternative locations. The consideration for an alternative location would be, you know, is it just salt? Do you store other material there? Do you have equipment there that you might want to access during the flood? You know, what exactly is the use there? Is it sufficient to be flooded at some point, or would you rather maintain it in a safer place so that you can be in and out of there and using it for if you're doing flood repairs? So that would be my first thing. Just kind of considering that location and realizing that it can and will flood, and what is your use of it? How much, like, what is the economic considerations of, you know, losing material to the river at some point, or, you know, I don't know exactly what you have there, but just thinking about that piece of it, of like a flood resilience standpoint, town budget standpoint, does it make sense to keep it here? Now, moving on, assuming you do want to keep it there, we do have to, since it is in the floodplain, we do have to look at it as a commercial development under your floodplain regulations, which basically means that you would have to build it in such a way that it's elevated 1 foot above the base flood elevation. The base flood elevation at this site is maybe like, you know, a foot above grade or so you'd be looking at trying to get the low floor of that structure up to 2 feet above the base, or a foot above the base flood elevation, so about 2 feet above grade. So maybe you have to, you know, build your block foundation and fill it in a little bit, and then maybe have a little ramp up into it or something like that. The other option, instead of elevating it, would be, you know, putting flood vents in it so that, because regardless of what's in it or what it's used for, from a FEMA perspective, from a National Flood Insurance Program perspective, it's an insurable structure in the flood hazard area.
Right.
So you would either have to elevate it or do the wet flood proofing, which basically automatically allows water in and out to kind of equalize the pressure on the walls. The issue I kind of see with that, which isn't really related to the floodplain regulations, but is like a water quality standpoint, like you don't really want all of that salt leaching out into the water.
Right.
So there's like that consideration, and then again, that's also, you know, considering that it's going to flood, you might lose some material, it's going to make a mess either way when it floods. So I think you can get away with that last portion. I would probably recommend elevating it, and then moving forward, just depending on what your use is and what your budget considerations and things like that are, consider a different site that's outside.
So, sorry to interrupt you, but can that, if we were to elevate that a foot, we
Yeah.
put our foundation up a foot higher than what it is now, and it's actually telephone poles in the ground with some boards on the sides, is what holds, there's no foundation. So we would pour a foundation, raise that a foot, and start our structure from there. The inside of that structure is going to be sand. Not, when I say sand, that is the road sand for the winter.
Yeah.
We can raise that up a foot, I guess, and level it out with the top of the walls.
Yeah. What I would basically do is, like, I've seen the estimate that you got. So you would just still pour the frost walls, still raise it, try to get it that, maybe at this point it's 6 feet above grade instead, so you can get that bottom 2 feet.
Yep.
And then where the doors are, you would probably still do 2 rows of blocks, and then fill it in, and maybe it wouldn't just be sand on the bottom, maybe you'd have some like good packed aggregate or something that you're scraping down to. But
Okay.
just trying to raise up that floor, like I said, 1 foot above the base flood elevation, which is probably gonna be about 2 feet above the natural grade.
Okay, so that's not really, that's not a huge,
So is the way it's orientated right now, I would maybe put the long wall up against the railroad track as far back as you can get it, because you do go up in grade a little bit as you move towards the railroad track.
yeah, that is true.
Yeah, like put the doors facing towards the river, and then that way if water gets in, it can drain out that way. Or whatever, it shouldn't get in if it's 2 feet above, but,
Right,
yeah. So that would be what I would consider, to
Well,
leave it there,
yeah, hey,
do that, raise it up.
yeah, we had a question whether we were talking salt shed, but I think we were talking of combining both of them together.
Right.
So we'll replace them both when we do this. So salt shed would be gone, the culverts out back, and push everything right back up against the, right up against the right of way in the railroad tracks.
One structure for both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
So the orientation would be the same as the current sand shed, with a short end up against the railroad tracks, correct?
Well, he was talking of putting the long end up against the railroad.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about, because
But-
that changes the southern
Yeah.
exposure.
Right, well, not exactly, because if we add salt to this, then we have widened it. So, in other words,
You can still accomplish it, it just may be a little bit more in terms of the soil.
yeah, it's gonna be, it'll be a wider structure than it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your roofs, I'm just kind of thinking off the cuff, but just, it would be wider than it is now, definitely.
Yeah, and I think if you were to do this, the design of the sand and salt shed would probably be the highest priority. The solar panels kind of become secondary, and just, because we'll have enough surface area there to do it.
Right.
One way or the
Right.
other, just maybe a few more extra
Right.
solar panels, depending on the orientation. Yeah.
So if we were to raise that area 2 feet above the location or the elevation that it is now, by filling it in, frost walls / concrete foundation up 2 feet.
yeah, and I would do it within the concrete foundation, like don't try to make a fill pad and build on top of it, like.
Yeah, okay.
Still inside of it.
Okay, so basically, put your frost walls in, bring it up to grade, then go 2 feet up from the frost wall. And then, once that's done, we can fill in the inside it, with a sure pack or whatever we can find to fill it in, that's hard enough to
Put a
scrape
pad in
on.
there.
We could pour a pad in there.
Yeah.
Pad's only gonna be, 6 inches thick. So, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I think we got a good grasp on that. If you have any questions about that, just feel free to email me, or as you come up with plans, feel free to run them to me. And we can just go from there. And then as far as solar on the top of it's not really going to make a difference. Where it's going to come into play is having any sort of inverter box or any of that elevated, and it'll be above BFE, but just like having it, 3 or 4 feet up the wall and kind of keeping everything that's buried protected from inundation and shower.
Yeah, because that'll have to be on the outside somewhere,
Yeah.
keep it away from the salt and sand. Or
Yeah.
we'll be replacing it every couple of years,
Right.
Yeah.
so.
What about
And
solar
same
involved?
thing down on notes,
So
if you're gonna put stone canopy, what we require is that the lowest portion of the panels is 1 foot above the base flood elevation, but if you're planning on putting it high enough to park cars under it, I think you're gonna easily get there.
Okay,
It's on the roof.
And up, just making sure those poles are buried deep enough to resist, overtopping, which any sort of engineering design is gonna provide that.
Right.
And so that's at Stone Meadow, right?
No, at the ball field.
At the ball field?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is at the ball field.
Yeah, any of the parking areas, they're within the flood hazard area, but they're outside the floodway and they're outside the river corridor, so
They're outside the floodway and the
really-
river corridor.
elevated and protected.
Okay.
So those actually, the solar, so the salt shed is kind of, that's regulated under your own flood hazard regulations. Where I would come into play is kind of helping you with that design, making sure it's compliant, but that would be your own permit under your own regulations. And my role in that is just making sure it's done right, so that if FEMA ever comes around to say, hey, let me see the permit for the salt shed, we know that it's all good.
Right.
The solar panels, anything that's net metered is gonna probably come through section 248, and that's a state permit, so I would review that.
Right.
That would be a permit through our office, and like I said, it would be the same requirements either way. It's that 1 foot above base flood elevation, which if you're putting it on top of the building or high enough to put park cars under its height, that meets that, and then, yeah, it's just making sure that the structure is adequate to withstand a flood.
Okay.
Anything else?
Do you have any questions, Erica?
If Kyle is happy, when he's happy, the zoning administrator will issue the permit.
Okay.
You all set?
So,
We should be, thank you very much for the information.
Yeah, no problem. Like you said, if you have any questions or as you come up with designs, just run them by me and we can figure out. Yeah, the more we talk through it and go through it, the easier it goes and everybody's happy.
Okay.
Yep, all right, I appreciate it very much. Thank you for,
Yes, thank you
Talking
very
with
much.
us.
Okay. Good night.
Thanks a lot.
all right, good night.
Yeah.
so maybe just one follow-up question. Did we hear back from the folks who were doing the design back in 2022? Did they update the cost on that yet?
Haven't updated yet?
No,
Okay.
but you have an inside scoop.
I have an
Yeah.
inside scoop. I will mention something tomorrow,
Okay.
because he'll be at my house tomorrow. He's at my house almost
go.
every single day, so.
I don't know why this just popped into my head when she said Stone Meadow. Without getting screamed at, I'm just trying to think on how I
There's
can,
covenants on that.
huh?
There's covenants on Stone Meadow. The gift was given with covenants on it.
Okay,
Can't put solar panels there.
oh,
But if you built parking there, you couldn't put solar panels on top of the parking
I
lot?
would like to read it myself.
where I was going with it, we have a side hill down there that we're not using. We could, if we can, look at getting the solar panels over there.
That would be the logical place, but
Well, I just happened when she said,
Covenants.
I'm sitting there going, you're not gonna interfere with anything else.
there's,
I don't know how high up that hill, I think it's right to the top that town owns, right?
almost, yep, almost.
Doesn't that hill face north?
No, faces south.
I think we're talking about different hills. Oh, you're talking about the one that's like in the meadow itself.
In the meadow itself, the one on the right-hand side, the
That's-
big
that's-
steep one.
That's where the kids go sledding,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's sledding hill.
It's Kamikaze Hill.
Yeah, there's,
Well, like I said, when she said that, I'm like, well, maybe an option, but.
I thought of that too. And,
There's covenants.
I haven't seen it, but that's what I am told is that there's,
You'd have to check
the-
that.
it was a gift to the town with the stipulation that says all natural.
Okay.
I don't know what the wording is,
You'd have to look it up.
you know, but, gotta respect that.
Right.
But I think we should check it out and see what
Yeah,
it says.
yeah.
Like I said, if that's a sliding hill, then there's much.
Yeah.
think we'd get a lot of resistance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think all things being equal,
Yeah.
putting them out of sight on the, at the garage,
Yeah.
or the sand shed is probably preferable for everybody, I would
Yeah.
think. If we can do it, and it sounds, that was encouraging discussion tonight.
Yes. Yeah.
If you could put them in the ballpark, you know, where the parking area is, covered parking, and then put them on top.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about.
That's,
No,
yeah.
that's-
Where would we look for that covenant?
We could look in the land records.
It wouldn't be in the records yet.
We'll try tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Great. We don't have a road commissioner this evening.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, see you later.
Thank you. And so I guess, are we moving on to
Honorable mentions.
honorable mentions? Our honorable mentions this meeting go to the Energy Committee members for installing LED lights at Town Hall, residents who sent holiday cards, baked goods to transfer station, and Highway Department and Town Hall employees. Do we have any public? I don't think so. So moving on to fiscal year 26 administration budget review.
Right.
Okay, so we have a worksheet.
I put the latest one in front of you.
Okay,
And the, from the wall.
okay. Thank you, Erica.
Hi, Erica, thanks.
Okay, here we go. So we have a worksheet for current salaries. Okay. And we have the, budget actual and budget for administration. And then, let's see, is this the one for the? And I think, is that it right here at the worksheet?
Yes.
Okay. So the minimum wage has increased to $14.01 for 2025. And so we need to determine salaries. Okay.
I only mentioned the minimum wage because
It's gonna increase.
Jerry's is getting,
Okay.
you know, his is not much above that when
Oh,
concession kids this summer will be making
Gotcha.
14, Jerry's making.
okay. Okay. And then for the projection of 3% and 4% increases is for salary, correct?
And we could also do 2, we could do 5,
Okay,
whatever you want, 1.
Right.
Just threw in some numbers,
okay.
or none.
And VLCT is saying to add an 8% increase for health insurance?
Yeah, we'll take up health insurance in a little bit.
Okay. So right now we're looking at
You
salary.
want to just do salaries and then
Yeah.
once you decide what if any percentage increase, then between
Alright.
now and the next meeting, I can fill in those numbers on the admin budget.
Okay. So what do people think about salaries?
They're worth every penny.
They are. What increase do we want to?
What was minimum wage before? I can't remember.
Minimum wage before was 12? Or was it 13?
13, like 67 or something.
And so it's gone up how much?
14.
Yeah, minimal, I can't read it.
Can you read it out?
That's a federal
That's
minimum
20.
wage.
Oh, yeah, that's.
It was
that
like
one.
1367 or something.
Okay. So has it gone up like 2%?
No.
No, not even that.
Wage. It was 1367 an hour,
Okay,
and it's gonna be 1401.
1401, so it's quite minimal. It's gone up, right?
It's taken a couple of big jumps in the last couple of years, though.
Yeah. So how much do we want to raise salaries by?
I think Social Security gave you a 3% or 3.5% raise this year.
I just think we normally do 3%, but then with minimum wage going up, make it to offset that little bit of more of increase.
So do we want to
Well,
do,
I mean, minimum wage is,
I know, but it brings the whole bottom line. So to increase everybody a little bit more.
so are we
Than our
thinking
normal.
of going more towards 4?
I mean,
I like it.
What do you think, Mark?
that's fine. I was thinking 3.5, or 3 to 3.5, except with the exception of Art and Jerry.
Yeah, because they're very
And
close.
honestly, pushing them up by 10%. That's just because they're making $17 an hour for
Yes.
4 hours. It's almost not worth them driving down to the transfer station to work.
Right. So if we went 3.5 on everyone else and did, you think 10% for them?
I mean, it'll push them up to
Well,
$1.70, so it's 18, well, 18.75 for Art, and, well, I'll have to get a calculator out for the other one. $1.50, no, not really, so it'd be
1448.
$16 an hour.
Right.
1448 times 10%.
So
that's fine to me.
what do we think of that? 3.5 for
Yeah.
everybody else and do a 10% for them?
I probably wouldn't do it for that. It's not an easy job. Yeah.
So
Like I said, I had, for 4 hours, I mean,
do we need a motion for that or?
No, you can just, by
By
consensus, and
consensus,
then I
so
can.
Do that, yeah.
what do we
The other
think?
one's
Are
at
we good with
4%.
that?
we could, and that's fine too. Push everybody up 4%.
So do we want to make them 3 or 4, everybody? 3.5 or 4?
And you're looking at a couple $1,000 a year increase, if that.
Or for the
It'll help
4?
them, it'll help them pay the
4%.
taxes.
4 is fine.
4? 4? Do I hear 4? I feel like a auctioneer. Going once, going twice.
Sold.
Okay, it seems like we're going with 4
4 for them and 10 for Jerry.
and 10 for Jerry and Art.
I don't even know if 10's enough, but don't want to go on much more than
I-
that. That's.
I think
Not
it's-
this year, guys.
I think it's a good,
Can't do it all at once.
exactly. Okay. And now, are we moving on to insurance now, or
No, we can just start on the admin budget if you
Okay,
want. Just
yep.
start on the top line auditors.
at
and then we can-
5,000?
Yeah, each time we come down to salary.
Okay. So if we're ready, let's look at, and now where is,
5,000 auditors stipends.
Here we go. Okey dokey. So we're looking at line item 5,000, auditor stipends. Where are we at with that?
So they get 300 now?
Yep.
Yep. And it looks like so far, 200 has gone out.
That's because one of them didn't want the money, they took two
Okay.
transfer station cards.
Oh, okay.
We give them the option.
Then do we want to keep this at 3?
Yeah.
Okay. 5001, select board stipends.
I'd like to see 15 grand, but, just saying.
Oh, wait, that's when you're gone, so sure.
Well, in that case, 2,500.
So it's at 76 right now. Do we want to level this?
Level.
Level. Level. We can skip over the assessor clerk salary, that's already set. Looking at assessor expenses.
Yep.
We're at 5002B, assessor expenses. The budget last year was 72. Let's see where we're at. I would say level.
What's it?
Are we good with
Do
that?
you know any reasons why I would go higher?
It looks like it's within the mark.
Did you say they were going up 3%, Sandy?
Yes. Yep.
Assessor expenses, so what would that bring it to?
And,
So far, we've spent 6501.
yeah, out of, so they've already spent 89% of their budget.
Yeah, and to go up 3%, then maybe we should increase this.
Sounds it.
7250.
217.
Well, 3% fee.
It's $220, it's 3%.
Okay,
7,500?
yeah, so go to 75, so we're going to 75. Okay, I'm auctioning again, okay. 5002C, property tax maps, already set. As is 002F, that is also set. We're at 002G, assessor contract.
We have to change F, that's just
Oh.
for the deficit we're gonna have for the reappraisal.
Oh,
So we have
okay.
to add in for the
Booklet.
printing and the mailing of the booklets,
Okay,
which, did you get a figure, Sandy? for
Yeah,
John?
well, he gave us, $1, maybe $1.50 a booklet, and there's like 1,200, but he doesn't know what the postage would be on
Right.
2,500. That, and in your memo, it shows, Julie said that the last one we did in 2018, the whole thing was, like $2,500, so we know it's not gonna go down from that.
right.
So,
So right now, we're just holding a number and,
so what we have on 5002F is the 3,100 we need for the shortfall for the reappraisal, and then whatever we expect to add onto that.
so it could be another,
So we've gotta add in more,
it could be another 2,500 or more on top of that, right?
so we've gotta increase that.
Okay.
So what do you wanna come up with, though?
Do we want to go with the 25?
That was what it was in 2018, so,
And this is postage.
and that includes postage, so that's
Gotcha.
gone up. So maybe
So
at
add
least
another
3.
So
Anyway,
3, another 3? So that's going to bring it to 61.
6,100, that line.
Is that enough for postage?
Do we need to increase it more? Or are we gonna go with the 61 and then? Okay. I guess we're gonna stick at 61. 002G, assessor contract.
So again, he set out 3%, but my feeling on this one is if you look at what
Yeah,
they spent last year,
right.
I mean, maybe we level fund there and
Oh,
then.
yeah, look at
if-
that. They haven't spent hardly anything.
Right, and then if we level fund there and then the booklets come in more, that same whole still assessor stuff will be.
Okay.
Hmm.
So do we want to, budget at, the budget for 24 was 18.4, the budget for 25 was 19.2. What do people want to level this at?
We've only spent 15% of it right
Yes.
now, so.
Leave it at 19.2.
Leave it at the 19.2 and then we have something to work with
Right,
in case our other figure,
yes,
Hmm.
exactly.
there, okay, there we go. So then there's the total
Yep.
and we'll come off with what we have for those
We'll
figures.
skip
Are we skipping
the salaries, we could go down to
Sure.
zoning expenses.
zoning expenses? And that looks like that's number, are
Oh,
we looking at the road commissioner stipend?
No, we have
oh, we're
zoning
at
expenses.
5004.
5004A, yes, let's look at that. So, let's see, for 5004A,
So
it looks like we're over, or we spent most, 77% of it's been spent.
Yeah, right,
So-
to date, on
Yes.
this one, yeah, so we've spent 77% of the budget.
Yes,
which-
so, do we want to keep it at 3?
That goes up to 450 if we spent 77% of it already.
Yes, we have.
350,
450.
450.
We good with that,
Hmm.
450? Or 4?
Why did it go up so much from last year though? Because last year we only spent 180.
Right.
Was there
I
something?
think she probably had, well,
Is it
that's
the,
not
is it the,
bad.
because we're redoing them all and we had
Was that it?
to be a fees for that? Getting them,
She bought something.
Here and
Did she
everything.
buy something last year?
Hmm?
No.
because they were, looked over by somebody and, because we got it, which we wouldn't be having that again.
Yeah, but we do have the town plan, but
Yeah. Okay.
that's a 2-year thing, so it might not
Okay.
happen this year with expenses.
So, do we want to do 450 or less?
I just noticed there was such a big difference, I just,
Yeah.
a one time.
Right,
It could be.
could be a one-time
Because the
thing.
previous, I mean, the FY '24, she only spent 180.
So what about going up to 4?
Well, does that zoning expenses, is that the warnings of the zoning rules and regs? The printing of it
No,
or
no,
whatever?
That's
that's okay.
under town government.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
planning, zoning notices are.
Notices.
Wow. So what do we think? Are we good with 4?
Yeah.
4 is good.
Okay, so 4 it is. That would be 4. Okay. And now, going on down to the road commissioner stipend, 5010. Looks like we see a pattern here. Are we good with that?
You good with 2,000?
We good with 2?
Yep.
Good with 2.
Can I,
Yes.
I'm gonna throw something out. I
Sure.
thought about this the other day. Phil goes down every periodically and jumps in the truck and plows. he is under contract with us, we have an hourly rate for him to work. He doesn't charge us. Why do we not pay him?
Yeah,
I mean, 2,000 is fine, but the amount of time that he puts in is not worth it. Again, why can't we bring him in under hired help when there's somebody out and we get a bad storm, he could go plow and he gets paid for doing so.
Okay. I guess we can.
Okay, so level fund that and
Okay.
pick up his, you know, the expenses that he puts out.
Okay. Okay, tree warden stipend.
that's law.
I should say 0, wouldn't you?
That's law. They put it in there so all the tree wardens who don't do anything will feel guilty. Yeah,
Well, there we go. I think
Yeah.
250 it is.
that's what it is. That's what the law is. That's what came with the new, yeah.
Okay, so are we now at 5023?
No,
No.
we'll skip to, insurance, 5025, because all this other will determine
Okay.
what the numbers.
So we're going to 5025. Okay. So if you,
This is challenging,
yes,
insurance, because we don't know what's gonna happen this year and in the first 6 months of next year, so insurance is always challenging.
yes.
Budget.
Okay, so let's see where this is. And this is 5025. Okay. It looks like, with what we projected, we're well within, but who knows what it's going to actually
Well, and I
be.
gave you this handy dandy little chart.
Yes.
So we've now been reduced to 3 people on the insurance plan.
So there's 3 people.
Just Charlie, Lori, and I, and then we pay supplemental for Steve and Julie, and then retirement for Joyce, eventually retirement for Julie.
Okay, yes.
So,
Alright. Okay.
we know basically what our, from July to December will be,
Okay. Yes.
from January to next June is a guess.
Okay.
Especially
That's the
health
guess.
insurance. Especially health insurance, so.
Yes.
And then,
And this guess
help them.
is at 8% increase for the health
Right,
and a 3% increase for the dental.
right. A couple of these don't move at all. And
Okay.
then-
And then for passive, you went with 6?
Yeah,
Okay. And a 5% for unemployment?
right. And we have the passive figure for the first quarter of this year, so I doubled that.
Okay.
That's how I got the 19, and then I added 8% on for the 6
Gotcha.
months for next year, so that's how we came up with that number.
With the 20. Okay. Okay.
We talked about this a little bit at one of your meetings recently.
Yes.
Whether you wanted to consider, a payment in lieu of insurance.
Okay.
We get another,
Buyout.
yeah, if we get an employee who has the option of taking our insurance, but can also take another family member's insurance, would we wanna
Yep.
make a payment instead as an, incentive not to take ours, if they can prove they have insurance elsewhere? I think that's what other towns would require, is you'd have to show us proof that you do have insurance in order to get it.
Right, exactly. Then the question is, what to offer as a payment.
If that's what you decide to do, yes.
Yes. So, what do people think? Do you want to start with health insurance?
Well, as far as the insurance goes, we kinda got, I mean, Sandy's got
Yeah.
good numbers. Beats the increase, but I was just thinking of the reimbursement in lieu of.
Yes. I mean, these do look like good figures here.
Right. You know, if Steve were to retire, well, just say a employee was to retire, that's now taking health, you know, that changes all the numbers,
That's
depending on
true.
who comes in, you know?
Yes.
That's what I was wondering, like, we don't seem to budget per, you're budgeting for exactly who's here.
That's exactly
Not
right, Carolyn.
If we had to, let's say, everybody won the mega bucks and split it
That's right.
and left,
Right.
and everybody comes in is gonna need insurance, we don't budget for if we had to
No.
replace.
That's
What would
right.
we do?
That's a good
So
question.
as of this point, we're really lucky.
Yep.
That's gonna change.
Yes, it is.
Who knows by 2026?
Right.
Which makes me scared that we budget so low.
Yeah.
So what do we want to budget at then?
I don't know. I mean, that's it, you can't, it's, in the way,
It's just a
in the way
guess.
that insurance is right now in the state of Vermont with the Green Mountain Board, there is no prediction of what's gonna happen, because they are changing their, in 2026, they are changing their payment philosophies
Oh,
for Medicare and Medicaid patients, which will affect how Blue Cross Blue Share.
yes. Yes, it will. And we don't have any figures to go on with that yet.
Who even knows if we'll have a Green Mountain Board? but-
Right.
So like a couple of years ago, we were budgeting for five full-time employees.
Okay.
The same five are still here, but because of circumstances,
Yes.
we're now only paying for 3. But like you just said, that could change.
That could change.
So we are going to be losing one of the one of the insurers, but we're also possibly gonna gain another,
Exactly.
Well,
because you still have,
Right? And do we want to offer a payment?
What number are you looking for?
We are working on, so if you read through your notes here,
5025.
5025 is the health
Yes.
insurance. It's all the insurance is in that
but
one
if you
line.
read down here, we're good with these figures, however, this doesn't take into consideration that we're budgeting for what we have, not for what could happen. And then the issue is, if you take a look at this, on the town's insert, for this particular situation. So do we want to offer payment?
Uh-huh.
That's the question. And if we do want to offer payment, how much should that payment be?
so I would leave the numbers
Leave the numbers as is?
as Sandy had them. And if somebody doesn't want, well, I don't know how I was throwing around $1 an hour extra in their paycheck if they don't take our insurance. That's $40 a week, basically $160 a month. What's the average person's insurance? 300 or 400 a month? Anyways?
No, it's way up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So,
0.79 divided by 12 equals, divided by 3 equals. No, that's not right. This is the 60, right, if you're looking at your chart,
Yeah.
the 60 is for 3 people. Well, it's not completely 3, but it's mainly, because it does include supplementals and retirement, but that's not a huge number,
Is
so.
the insurance paid outright, or do employees have to put in part of it?
Say that again?
So like a lot of employers, you know, if you choose to have the health care, you have to pay out of your paycheck,
Right.
$400 comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some do not do that, that is added on to their salary. So how
Yes.
is it here?
it's added on, it's free. There's no.
So nothing comes out of their paycheck?
No.
Well, they're not paying anything towards their insurance.
No,
That's what I'm,
yep.
Oh,
'cause that's a big difference on how you look at this too.
yes.
So you could argue it different ways that that's already part of their salary.
Yes.
For your point of, extra dollar an hour. I mean, you could argue it either way with that,
Yeah.
but
Right, it is a benefit
to them.
to them to take our insurance.
So it's almost then, should we paying to compensate, so the actual salary based
What do you mean?
is more encompassing to include insurance? And then we luck out when we don't have to pay. Or they luck out. I mean, every business looks at it differently.
So what would your suggestion be?
I don't know. I mean, because that's
Well,
you would have to change everything and that would
Yes,
be too
right.
complicated
Would.
at this point.
Right, I
But we've already dug the hole as a town, I think, in the way it's all divided up.
Yeah.
Because we have not been budgeting the way we should be.
Right.
Per
But
employee.
as part of your salary, which, again, I came up with
Yeah.
$300 a week, but I think that's a little high.
So, like, if I took insurance at the hospital, I would have, for a whole family, the employees pay $200.
Yes.
Right.
My husband, on the other hand, who we do get the insurance from, nothing comes out of his.
Right.
Meanwhile, both myself and my husband have to pay in to the insurance on a bi-weekly basis. And I think it's a good amount of money, that several $100s.
And neither of us have the option for a buyout.
Right, I don't have an option for a buyout either.
But if you gave them, if they went out,
So, I mean, your number's kind of like in the middle.
yeah, but if they went elsewhere for their insurance, and we gave them $1 an hour, I'm thinking well, I don't know, I'd have to say it was probably closer to $1.50 to $2 an hour for insurance per employee. Just kind of guessing. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
what is that? That's $320 a month. Right, for insurance. But we would give them $1 an hour. Yeah, I don't.
So if
I
we
mean, we
did
could-
that.
I think, yeah, go ahead.
If we did that, if we did around that, because I did the math, that's right around between 19 and 2,000.
1,900 and 2,000,
It's, I got a figure of 1920.
if you work 40 hours a week.
I think that's what I got.
Okay, so only the road crew do 40 hours a week.
Okay.
So the town administrator and town clerk do, it's usually Monday through Thursday.
Okay. So what are we thinking?
So then the other option is to make it and give them an incentive not to take the towns. In other words, if we're paying an extra $2 or $3 an hour for insurance,
Right.
you could go up to $2 an hour for not taking their insurance.
So what
Because
would
you
that
want, you
figure
would
be?
want to make it a benefit for them to take the other person's insurance, but come on, insurance person here, I'm throwing ideas
The problem
out.
is it all depends on how good of a coverage is the other person, because anything that we would
Exactly.
offer honestly shouldn't be enough to sway a person unless it was the identical plans. And no place has identical plans. Because high deductibles, low deductibles, if, there's so much else that goes into it when you choose. I mean, like, we have 4 different options depending on what your medical needs are.
Right.
You know, like, some people have to pay a $400 copay every time they walk in the ED because of the
Yes.
insurance they have. Some have to pay 0.
Right,
So, you know, a couple $100 here and there, is that gonna offset if this plan requires a $400 copay? No. This one doesn't, but I don't think,
Right.
but I'm just saying,
but,
it's hard to figure this out because every person should be making it on what is the best insurance for what they need.
Yes.
the kicker is the town pays 100% of the health insurance, where,
Yes.
where very few
Places do.
other places of business do.
Nobody else does.
Right, so, right now, it's an incentive for an employee to take the town's insurance.
Yes.
Depending on what their plan is, though.
I don't know, $200 a paycheck or nothing. You know, you're looking at, you could have a $2,000 or $3,000 copay and still make out better with our insurance than you would be paying $200 or $300.
Not if you had my insurance. That's the problem. is I've got great insurance. And none of it comes out. And I have very little copay. So if that's the comparison,
Yeah.
I mean, we can't go, we're comparing apples and oranges, trying to figure out what's the best deal, because it's gonna be different for every person.
For budget.
Unless we throw in a, unless,
Yeah.
right, the
No.
budget numbers are gonna, be the same,
That's
Yes.
right, that's what
except,
we're doing now.
but we'd also talked about, you know, an incentive, that's where we were,
Yeah.
to not to take the insurance.
Yes.
Right,
Then it would change that budget number.
Right.
well, we jump off that bridge when we come to it. Put the
Well, we'd
money
have
in
I
and
think
see
we're
what
at the
happens.
bridge.
We are.
We are?
We're at the bridge. We're
Okay.
there.
Are we gonna jump or push? You know, what's gonna happen now?
Yes.
Is there gonna be a bolt on the bottom?
Exactly.
So I don't mind putting some in.
Or
I'm
on
just,
a creek road it's gonna fall in.
I just don't we're going in naive if we think it's gonna sway a person one way or the other, anything that we can do. Is it a nice thing to do? Yes.
Just go and leave it the way it is for now.
I mean, we can do some. I'm just
Right.
saying we're not gonna be able to do enough to offset some people's options.
Exactly. Exactly.
It would have
If
to be a
this insurance
policy.
plan is more attractive than the other insurance
That's
plan,
what you're gonna do.
you're gonna go with the more attractive
I
insurance
mean,
plan.
I had a one health plan that was terrible, but we had no option, so we had to take it. So that's,
Our options, and now the state pretty much says what it is, it's high deductible plans for everybody.
yeah.
So,
Go with some.
okay.
I'll take what I can get on, because buying insurance for myself is,
So do we wanna go with 2? What do people
That's fine.
think?
That's fine.
2,
2,000?
So that would be divided amongst all paychecks? As a one lump sum? That's another thing we gotta, how will it be?
You wanna do what, Mark?
We're
Okay,
we're getting closer.
Okay.
We're getting closer.
So, $2,000 a year
For buyout.
for a buyout
Yeah.
is 96 cents an hour for a 40-hour employee.
But we're talking about, not everyone here is a 40-hour employee.
Right.
Right.
So
So,
just do a straight flat rate.
We could just go flat rate it.
$1.20 if you're a 32-hour a week.
I remember when I could get a buyout, the buyout was, I think, $2,500.
Yeah, mine was an extra like $30 a paycheck or something.
Yeah. And that
Way
on
back
top of what my husband had for insurance was a good deal, so. When I could, I
would
took
go
the
with-
buyout.
With a flat $2,000 a year.
Sounds
What do
good.
we think?
That's fine.
Okay.
Do you wanna do it like quarterly, semi-annually, annually?
I would say annually. What do people
So
think?
you would just write the check right off at the beginning in January?
Would be on the paycheck.
So I'm trying to think when it would be.
Oh,
So here's one
Yeah.
devil's advocate way to look at it. You do a flat pay in January, they decide to leave in March.
Because it's not like you're a
You give it in
contract
December.
employee. Yes,
That way they have been there
For
for
the
the
year before.
year before.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And if they get hired halfway through the year, it's proration.
Yep.
Yes.
That's fine.
That way if they
Well,
leave
I'm glad
if
you've
they
been here
leave
for this
January 1st,
conversation. You've been incredibly helpful.
Or frustrating, either way.
Well, we're talking insurance, so of course there's
Yep.
a certain level of that to be considered.
Pull your ear out.
Yes.
So do you wanna add 2 onto the 105?
Now is that then
What's that?
so I would,
you have to then budget that for each employee?
Yes.
Well,
well, not necessarily.
Because it has to be open for every employee to then to make that change. Come the next insurance.
Every
there's only
full-time
one,
employee.
well,
Right,
it's just
Every-
right,
every insured employee.
All three of them right now, but
so it's now it's
Now you play
Charlie,
the odds.
Charlie, Lori and I.
So if we did it for the
And-
3,
But we'd have to budget that because we have to offer it to all.
The only thing I'm saying is, because you made a good point earlier that we're budgeting just for the current circumstance.
Right.
There's 3 of us that are single plans, so
So you gotta budget for.
there's just no option, like,
so I would budget
we
6.
couldn't do, for $2,000, we couldn't go out and buy insurance and prove to you we've had insurance.
okay.
But that could change in the future, yeah?
You never know.
I would put 6 in there.
6, okay,
Okay.
so,
That covers all 3 that have insurance now. And the odds are
Yeah.
50-50 that they're gonna take it or not.
You got the premium in there.
What's that?
Don't you already have the premium in there?
So what we're figuring out is whether, if they don't take the
Right.
town's insurance,
Right.
but then we were already,
already
like,
got the
we've already
premium.
budgeting for their
There
premium,
we
so.
go.
yeah.
It's gonna,
Right.
you don't have to have the.
We don't have.
No, we don't
to-
have, right, yeah, okay, good, yep.
So just add the 2 to the 105?
Don't even have to need to add the 2. Because, as Julie said,
I would think.
if they don't take the insurance, then we don't pay the premium, so we've already budgeted the money to pay the premium. So we've already got the money, so we don't
Yeah.
add any to it.
This would not, we would be budgeting for a potential employee,
So do we need to add
not
it for the
budgeted the premium
other
for right now.
positions that we
Put the
don't
2
pay
in.
for currently?
I think we should put
Oh.
the 2 in.
Okay,
Do you
That's
see what
my
I'm
opinion.
saying?
yeah,
I think we should put.
I'm
the 2
saying
in.
if
Yes.
somebody comes in, a 4th employee comes in, a 4th
Exactly.
employee eligible for full-time insurance comes in, that's the 2,000 we need to budget for.
Yes.
We haven't even, we won't have it budgeted for
Exactly.
their premium at all, so.
Right, because
hopefully
we
they
have
would
not
take something
budgeted
else's.
for a fourth insurance. I
Okay.
think we should at least budget for
Right.
a fourth,
Yeah.
yes.
So, 107,530?
Yep, 107,530.
And then at some point, we will,
Yes.
update the employee handbook to put this in there, so
Okay.
it's,
Okey dokey. Well, I'm glad we have addressed that nut. So we are now, where are we now?
5041, which is health
50.
officer stipend.
Okay, the health officer. It's been 250
Yes,
for as long as I can remember.
right.
I would say let's,
I would say leave it.
250.
Now, do you want to do, I know we're doing, salaries in between these meetings. I'm just wondering if we want the overtime. 5007?
5007. Yes. So what have we done for overtime in the past?
So right now, we budgeted 16,480, and
Okay,
they're at 44% of that budget right now at this time of year.
okay. And where,
And then, but this past year, ending FY
It was
'24, they went
over.
over budget.
yes. Yes, that was significant over budget. And what are we at right now? This is 5007.
That was with the flood?
I think so,
Well, we know we have to go up a minimum of 6% anyways.
yeah.
Well, some of that was FEMA. I never broke it out under FEMA expenses.
Oh, okay.
But even from the original number,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to go up 6%. Yeah, 6%.
So what would 6% of that be?
What, 16,460
988.
plus 6, 17,447.60.
17,
5.
17.5.
Good.
Did I do that right? I think so.
That sound correct?
Yes.
Okay. 7, so are we good with that, to bring that up to 7?
Good with that, and I'll fill the rest in and bring it back to you next
Okay,
meeting.
okay. Okay,
Hey, getting exciting.
lovely.
This we're done. All right, now we're on to revenue.
Okay, so revenue. Where is revenue? Okay. We do have revenue.
4501, where it starts.
4501, I am just on the wrong page right now.
4502.
4502, here we go.
It is.
Great. Okay. So, for 4502, Highway State Aid, we budgeted 88,325.
Came in right there.
The actual came in. So let's see where we are.
So we're way over right now.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, we're way over.
That was a one-time, the state gave all the towns extra.
Okay.
One-time payment, yeah.
Okay. So what are we thinking?
Now, how is this happening? We didn't get the money?
Yeah, it's on this report.
Yeah.
We got 111,000.
Okay.
So we got a big,
Normally we get 88 or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah, we
No.
did the 88.
So leave it at the 88 and,
88, just level fund it.
Sure.
yeah.
so we're level funding the revenue there.
I was asking about the PILT payment. We got no PILT payment?
We don't get it yet.
We don't get it yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on to
Ordinance fines is tough.
4503. The budget for,
So we're
24
about halfway,
we're halfway.
Where it was.
a little over.
Okay. You're a little over, yes.
You're thinking of, boosting coverage a little bit
Yes.
next week.
Yeah, so this could go up. Do we want to keep it at the 75?
I would leave it at 75.
Yeah, I think so.
So we're gonna leave it at the
We can always
75.
Be pleasantly surprised.
It looks like the number for 4504 is already set,
Yeah,
okay?
and then office rent,
Office rent, keep it at, level it,
yeah.
that's level at 4. 4506, motor vehicle registration renewals. That's already set?
Yeah.
Yes.
We can go down to
So we're
4513.
going down to 4513.
Leave it at 4.
I would say leave it at 4. 4514, transfer station fees. Do you want to keep it at 40?
What did we? Yeah, we're at 52 now, %, so.
Okay, so we're gonna leave that at 40. 4515, scrap metal recycling. For 24, it was 2, for 25, it was 3. Where are we at? We're at about 43%
7.
right now.
Yeah.
So
Leave it at 3.
We're
Leave
just,
it at 3.
yep, we're just under.
This means we can skip down now to 4523.
We'll hold off on that
Yeah.
until we see all the numbers.
We just make taxes free this year? Just saying.
You can go down to, overweight permits.
What
4530.
number's that?
4530.
4530. Okay,
We haven't got any overweight permits this year.
okay. So should we leave it at 3?
Yeah.
Where have we not got any overweight permits this year?
Well, we always get them,
In the spring?
yeah, they'll start coming in now.
Oh, okay.
So we get all of them last, like, February, March, April, before
Gotcha.
June 30th.
Then we'll just keep that at 3. Okay,
Summer rec program?
summer rec. Okay, so let's see how that went. 45.
8,700 last year? No.
Yes.
Yes.
45.
They did the extra week. It wasn't budgeted.
Right.
Right. So,
Do we know if they plan on doing 5 weeks or 4?
4.
Good.
They're
So
gonna
leave
do
it
4.
at 7,500 again?
okay, 75. 75 it is. 4547, gate income for Elfin Lake. Let's see where we're at. looks like it's pretty much,
65, yeah.
yes. So keep it at 65. 4548, concession income, Elfin Lake. So at 24, it was 22, for 25, it was 3. 45, 48.
3 again?
What, yeah, yep. Are we good with 3 again? And I think that's it.
What did you put down for 45?
45, 45, 75.
Okay, 75, that's what I thought.
And I think that
That's good.
takes care of revenue.
That's, we got our budget.
And we
very
have a
close to
budget.
done.
Like we should have balloons dropping into the ceiling.
Until we take an axe to it next meeting.
That's the whole budget?
Yes.
So we're gonna find out the math.
Yep,
of what the
at the
increase-
next meeting, we'll put all the numbers in.
Yes, we'll put all the numbers in and we'll see where it falls.
That's right. See where it shakes out, Rob.
I
Yes.
remember, the Herald reported 11% increase was 1.1, and I was chair.
It was before my time, Rob, it was before my time.
There we go.
That was Walter Deinzer.
Okay, so
It was
we're,
who?
Walter Deinzer,
Oh,
Oh, he did the
Sally's
math
Sally's husband.
yeah.
okay. So we are now moving on to, it looks like Roy with the boot update.
So I spoke with, whatever his name was
Jones?
today.
Walter
Jones
Jones,
today.
Wayne Jones,
Somebody over there in East Wallingford.
Wayne Jones.
Yep, and so his thought is Kevin hurt his back, so he can't lift it up, move it around, work on it.
Father's Bob down on Hartsville Road.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I spoke with him today. He said he'd like a piece of it just to see what it is, but Sandy and I went down and looked at pieces, and we might as well take the whole thing down to him and let him see what he can do with it. He's talking, if he can just weld it back together, then it's a couple grand. If he's gotta start making pieces and getting creative with it, then the price goes up accordingly. But at least if we have the road crew take it down, they can
Okay.
look at it, give him an idea.
He
Or
can't just come here and look at it? to
he
get an
doesn't,
idea?
he wants to put some heat to it
Oh.
because he doesn't know what kind of metal it is.
Oh, okay.
So depending on what it is, he might be able, well, the way he described it is,
Okay, that makes,
he might be able to weld it with aluminum rod and get it to stay if it's zinc and that type of thing, or even solder it back together to get it to stay. But he won't know that until he
Sees the
can
material.
try it there.
okay.
I think it's-
Or he's gonna fire up torches and a welder in our basement, so.
Okay. Yeah, I think we'll bring it down to him.
And I talked with Kevin tonight, and he said he's pretty good, but, and
Okay.
Kevin hurt his back, so
He
he
is
can.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
He's a good machinist.
but it's the, like I said, I think the road crew knows where he lives.
Is it
Yeah,
the one that's got like
Oh,
the
sweet.
statue with
Yeah.
the,
Yeah,
all the like ski
A little
lift?
ball
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
the bar, yeah, that's him.
That's him.
No.
His dad was down on Hartsville Road.
Homerstone actually is my
Huh?
neighbor.
Homerstone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that BJ had some work done by him.
Okay.
So if they can get that down there sometime in there.
Okay.
Speaking of road crew, do we lose a truck? We have a truck down? Mm-hmm. Okay.
What?
They're just, they plowed by the house with the loader
Yep,
yesterday, and I'm like,
Steve was working on it today.
it's kind of weird,
Yep.
so.
Okay. Okay. We are now moving on to town meeting warning articles.
We discussed in previous meetings with both these groups adding special articles to establish reserve funds. And I got some model wording from
Okay.
LCT, but then asked them for their input on some of it as well. So this is what each of those groups came up with.
Okay, Shelton. Establish a reserve fund through donations to be called the Wallingford Day Reserve Fund, to be used only for expenses for Wallingford Day purposes in accordance with 24 VSA 2804. That would be Article 5. Article 6. Shall the town establish a reserve fund through donations and advertisement revenue to be called the Wallingford Standard Newsletter Fund, to be used for expenses associated with the monthly newsletter in accordance with 24 VSA 2804. What do we think of those articles? Do we approve them? For the warning?
Sure. Sound great.
Sounds good to
Yep.
me.
Okay. Is there any others that you want?
Yes, are we adding any other articles? Like say for highway?
Yeah.
Or,
Question on that. So does that mean when you look at the budget that we just, the revenue page, does that mean anything, so if you look at communications, 4553,
okay, hold on. I just moved all those papers out. Okay, so let me find revenue again. Okay. 45,
53,
4553. Yes, about that?
so 4553 and 4554, does that mean anything we take in over 5,500 and over 2,500 goes into this, and is left over, goes into this reserve fund at the end of the year? fiscal
Any
year?
surplus?
Right, is that what that means?
It looks like it's separate than this. Unless,
Because that's where we put
because yes.
that's where we put any income from advertisement for
Oh.
newsletter
Right.
and Wallingford Day, that 2,500.
Gotcha.
I think that was the final donation from our former resident for the fireworks. I
Yes,
think I held it till July.
gotcha.
So what I'm asking is,
Yes.
anything over that amount? Because we're counting on this income to offset the expenses
Right.
that are under that expense account. Are we talking anything above?
I think the
Or-
purpose was if they got donations and they weren't used within 1 year, it would not go into any general funds, it would just carry
Right.
over for the next year,
So what?
for both
so
of them. If I remember,
Would it be above this income amount?
I think it would be.
Am I saying it right?
So,
I think that's gonna be hard to separate. My
almost
thought
a
would be,
replacement almost.
my thought would be, if they have this much of a budget, whatever they don't spend by June 30th goes
Carries
into a reserve fund.
Are you talking on the expense side then? What they don't spend?
I think so.
Yeah.
Are we
You don't
thinking,
have to worry about it.
because.
What do we, now we've established other reserve funds. How did those work?
Yes.
A couple years ago, we did 3 reserve funds.
Just on the expense side.
Okay.
So, because this says donations through donations and advertisement.
I think
Right.
that,
What Barb Bushy said to me is, she gets people all the time who wanna donate to the newsletter. But when they're towards the end of June, she says, well, wait, because if we don't spend it, it's gonna go in the general
General
fund. I think
fund.
that's what they're trying to avoid, is getting donations
Same with
that
the
end up
rec.
in the general fund.
Because they get, people want to donate that's only
Right.
going to go towards a rec.
Right. So I guess
Over,
would,
I guess.
so I guess would this go under an expense?
It's-
Because whatever surplus goes into the reserve fund, we'd still be getting the revenue that we're expecting,
Right?
but anything extra then would go into this reserve fund.
All right, I just want to make it clear.
Did I say that properly?
It's almost like, I think with the rec committee, it's harder than the other, because we do actually get revenue, which that's,
Oh, the Wallingford Day group?
right,
Yeah, because you budgeted 2,500 for them.
right.
Okay.
Or they want a place to store their
Right.
donations
Right.
for the Wallingford Day.
Right.
That we don't make money or get money, it's, as a town. We're just, has to help facilitate their payments.
Right.
'Cause
Right.
it's,
So then
Wallingford.
how do we address that one?
So the article
The money
itself
goes.
says donations.
right, so it's any donations go there,
So any,
and then that's where the payments
and
come
then
out of.
the standard says donations and advertising.
Yes. Right.
I mean, I would, whatever they don't spend at the end of June 30th.
Yes.
If it's
Stays there.
donations or advertising, it goes into the reserve
Goes
fund.
into the reserve fund.
That they can then use the next year.
Right.
Because part of it was if they got a lot of donations this year, more than they don't need,
Spend it.
but then next year they don't get as much. Because they can't always expect to get large,
So would we see this as an expense fund then?
I think sounds that way.
So these two should always equal the expenses.
They should always equal, right?
Okay.
Just so we know that.
Does that help make that
Yep.
clear? Okay. There we are. And now we are on to, and before we move on, we were about to talk about whether we wanted to add any other articles to the warning.
Right.
I almost forgot that, but I didn't. So, do we want to add any other articles, say for highway or such? What would that article be?
With all of the discussion of the solar panels possibly going on top of the new salt shed, sand shed,
Yep.
that might require something to
Yes.
build a salt shed
Yes,
in 25, 26.
yes,
So that means before the budget goes out,
yes.
or before the warnings go out for the town meeting day, we need a budget because I guess it'd go either way, either as a line item in the budget or a warning in the thing that we would like to expend or build a new salt shed. If not,
You'd have to do
then
a
we just
special
filed
bond
for
We'd have to do a
CPG
what?
for
I mean,
nothing.
you would just do a special bond vote, right? If they decided to build a salt
It
shed.
would be a special.
Well, I don't know, that's what I don't know,
Do a
but
special
It
meeting.
would be a
it's
special
something we
meeting
need to
I don't know
consider.
how we would come up with a number right now
Right.
before
Right.
mid-January.
But we
Well, the
did-
problem is if you have a special bond meeting, but it goes into the next year's taxes, we can't start it for a year, correct?
You could.
No, I'm asking, I don't know how it would
It would
work.
depend when you'd have your special, you'd have to have a special town meeting to have it voted on.
I mean, you set a tax rate in August, so.
Yes.
You know, if it was before that, you could put it in. If it was after that,
And do we already have a highway sinking fund?
yeah.
Yeah. Mainly for,
rename that.
for, like.
No, 'cause that's what it
I'm
shows
just
for.
joking, because that sounds terrible.
We have a highway sinking fund, but it's, you know, it's, we use it for truck replacement,
Right.
things like that. We don't have, what
But it's just
Steve has
something
asked
that,
for and what Phil has asked for is
something to think about
What
moving
we're
forward.
doing
We
with
said we're gonna do it, but
the newspaper, anything not spent
we
in
gotta do it
highway
next year if we're gonna
gets
do
put
it
into
before
reserve,
January 1st.
So it doesn't go into the general
Oh.
fund. But that's not
Cause that's the length of
advocating
our,
that, I'm just saying that's
When
one
you
of the
have to
things they've
start
talked
building
about.
it.
well, it has to be, our CPG is good for 1 year. Unless we file for an extension.
Right.
So if it's gonna go on the salt shed, then we had better get some estimates and get this going in a hurry.
Right. I'm gonna.
Or we're gonna be
steer-
filing for extensions.
Exactly, but I
Forever.
think that might not be something that we discuss right now. I think we're gonna be, we're not gonna table it for that long. But I think for right now, what we just approved for.
No, we can't do anything on it
For
right now,
Wallingford
other
Day.
than,
And for the newsletter, Highway would like to do with any extra money that they have at the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
So they would like to be able to not have their money go into the general fund. They would like their money to also be in a reserve. So what are people's thoughts on this?
What's this for?
Okay, so right now, we just approved 2 special articles.
Right?
One for any extra money for Wallingford Day to be put in a reserve fund. And one for any extra money for the newsletter to be put into a reserve fund. Highway would like a similar
Sinking fund.
article. They already have a sinking fund.
Okay.
What they're looking to do
difference
is that
though?
any budgeted money that they don't use doesn't go into the general fund, but instead
No.
stays.
I don't think we
Big
can.
difference is, these are specifically worded as donations. We don't get donations for the highway.
No. No.
And once we started with one thing, every line would want one.
Yes. I feel the same way, but I
I see,
need to say this, we need to address it.
yeah, no, and I see their thought,
I do too. But I'm thinking,
not in this function though.
yes, I'm thinking similar.
Yeah, my thought is if they think they're gonna come in under budget next year, then what do you wanna cut? Because we could take some money off your budget if you think you're gonna be under.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think,
I think the sinking fund is a good idea, any way to do it, not, you know, like I say, donations.
so it sounds like we won't be adding any
Okay,
articles.
no other articles, okay,
No, adding no other articles.
Got it.
These 2 special ones are the ones that we're at.
all right.
Okay.
I know where they were going. If they
Yeah.
have money left over on the gravel, they wanna keep it in the gravel budget and.
Yep.
But in a roundabout way, they do,
Still
because
does.
Yes,
either way, they get it back,
Right?
and next year, they get the same amount of money again. But if they added that in, then we're gonna cut their money back, so
yes.
it doesn't change, it gets the same amount of money.
Yeah, good thinking.
Okay.
All right.
We are now on to NCER e-waste recycling agreement. Okay, so there is a contract extension agreement
Yeah,
between the town.
we do this every
Okay,
January.
we do this every January.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night, good night.
So. No terms have been changed, extends e-waste pickup for another year. It picks up covered e-waste at no cost and charges a small fee for uncovered e-waste. And the town receives some revenue.
Right.
So, do you want to authorize me to sign the agreement?
Sign it. Yeah, we're gonna be stuck with it.
Okay. So, I am authorized to sign.
All right.
Code of Ethics Investigation and Enforcement Ordinance.
This is required by the state.
Okay, Act 171 became law in June of 2024 and it requires each municipality to adopt rules for the investigation of complaints that a municipal officer has violated the municipal code of ethics. The state provided the enclosed model ordinance for our consideration and adoption. Upon adoption, it will become effective within 44 days unless the town receives a petition. Also included is a municipal ethics complaint form as well as the code of ethics. So do we wish to adopt the ordinance and do we approve of the complaint form?
Don't we have to?
Yeah.
adopt the
Yes.
ordinance? So, you know,
Really don't have an option.
this is given to us, this isn't something we're asking.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it's just the only thing that you know, just to
Yes.
point out is the, who would investigate it.
Okay.
But that's good that we have a.
Yes. So,
Unless becomes chair, and then it would be whoever. It would,
Okay.
You know, but clearly that's not gonna be a heavy workload, I wouldn't assume.
right,
Hopefully not.
hopefully not.
So, yeah.
Glad they've got.
So do we need a
Lot to do
motion?
with
I would,
Okay,
for an ordinance, I would
So
motion.
we will need a motion for this.
I can't do it.
I'll make a motion to accept the ordinance as proposed
Okay.
in the form.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No vote.
Okay.
Are you no or abstain?
I'll go either way with it, I don't care, I'll be a no vote.
Okay.
Be a no vote, I don't.
There we are.
I understand the concept because it gives you something to fall back on and say, you address complaints, you do this, you're honest, you know,
We're lucky.
It's a preemptive thing when somebody's gonna really come at you, you know.
Well, the reason I'm a no vote is because I'm not gonna take the training, and I will not be here after the 1st of March.
Right.
So, either way, I'm not,
Yeah.
See, and we're lucky
And
we have
honestly,
a good
that's-
select board and town employees where this has not been an issue, but I am sure, and we've read in the
Yes.
paper where this is an issue, so they need to make us all follow the same rules.
Right.
You can still vote for it and
Fortunately.
not go to the training, you know.
no. I am not for it, by any means.
And then you need to name 1 and 2 in the memo. So
Okay.
you need to name, specifically name the liaison to the state ethics committee and then the designated complaint recipient.
Okay.
With the
So where
policy
is-
already says you. It's in your memo, the select board memo.
Okay. I have to find the memo.
Once again, not really an option. It already says it.
Now, where is this? Do you have the memo? Or it's in here?
No, it's in your memo that comes right in after the agenda, in your packet.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, so,
Oh, in here?
yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
Where,
okay.
like-
So the law requires the
Yes.
town to name required designees. Each municipality's legislative body must designate either an employee or one of its own members to serve as its ethics liaison to the State Ethics Commission. And Sandy is happy to serve as liaison. Okay, I think we're happy to have you serve as
Okay,
liaison.
so we'll just, the
See,
town,
reading the
And
room.
I hope you don't have to do anything.
me too.
Assign a municipal officer or body, i.e. designated complaint recipient, to receive complaints alleging violations of the municipal code of ethics. The ordinance has the select board chair serving in this role, and the vice chair in the case of a complaint against the chair. But that's gonna be changing in
I'm gonna have to make one.
March anyways.
So by consensus, those are all
Right,
good?
so are we good with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We have a no vote over it.
So behave, Kathy.
Just flying through this agenda.
I think,
Yes.
I think it's an overreach
Oh, I think it's a way overreach
And
if it
same
states.
thing with the chairman's school.
Right. Yeah. Okay,
You know, wonder what else they could be doing.
right. So select board comments and concerns. Okay,
Find somebody to run. I'm definitely not now.
If
okay,
we can't, you're gonna have to come back.
I will not.
No, no,
I
no.
refuse. I will not.
okay. So now we are on to other business. The town's pre-application for the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant for the concession stand upgrades made it through the preliminary round, and the town is invited to submit a full grant by March 2025. Congratulations. Yes. Beginning on January 1st, 2025, Act 68 of 2023 requires municipalities to conduct full reappraisals every 6 years unless a longer period of time is approved by Property Valuation and Review, PVR. PVR is required to propose a schedule for appraisals to the General Assembly that phases in full reappraisals for each municipality every 6 years, with the first municipality scheduled to complete reappraisals on or before April 1st, 2027. And the town received $100 for a cannabis license approved by the state's Cannabis Control Board for Vermont Green Buds LLC. The owner is Robert Stillwell at 2246 Sugar Hill Road in East Wallingford. Okay.
And we did receive our certificate of public good for the net metering for the town garage.
Well, wonderful. So we got our CPG.
Yay.
Okay.
Just nothing to put it on.
So the fiscal year 26 budget schedule below. Approved budget and warning at the January 20th meeting. And that covers other business.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
That'll vote on.
Aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.